Hey guys, Boris Schlossberg from BK Forex. Welcome to our Forex Daily Technicals for the last day of May, 531.13. Can euro dollar hit 131.100? As always, trading foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. I invite you to read this disclaimer very carefully and be aware of all the risks associated with trading on margin and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Well, let's take a look at the euro because that's going to be the one of the key looks I think tonight. We broke through the 30 level today. And that I think is pretty significant because not only did we break through the 30 level, but we actually held it on the closing basis. So the upside here is kind of pretty clear. We have, the 3050 is obviously a little bit of a congestion, but if we can break through above here, 31, 3150, all of this pretty much clears on all the way up to 3200. In front of us today, we got the German retail sales, maybe much better than expected because German consumer sentiment was pretty good. Could give us a little bit of a lift. And generally, as you can see, for the last several days, I've been talking about the fact that technically the euro has looked quite good because it's been making higher lows, and the bias within the channel was to the upside. Today we had the breakout of that channel. Now the critical question is, can we start putting it away? Can they start squeezing it a little bit higher? This 60-70 zone is definitely serious congestion, but we'll see if Europe can lift us through that, at least in the early session. And I think if we clear basically the 70s, 75s, 31 is going to be very much in sight as we try to push further. A lot of the I think late trapped euro bears are going to have to cover as we start squeezing out higher. If that's that's the case. If we fail, it's obviously going to be because this is a small level of congestion, and then it would probably pretty much pose a double top here that pushes us right back into the range. But then again, we have to see how that develops because if we sort of stop around 30 and come right back out, it could just be a pause that refreshes. Bottom line is, I think the bias in the euro for the time being is to the good, to the positive. 31 is in view unless we get some exogenous shock to the trade that could take us down. Dollar yen is consolidating. And what's interesting here, I think, is surprisingly, we had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs at the 150 level, and that's held. It held last night. There was about 4 or 5 forays into it. We'll have to see how it goes forward because, of course, the volatility in Japan can be pretty vicious right off the bat. We'll have to see how the afternoon session Nikkei trades. And it's obvious, I think, it's sort of interesting from the Japanese point of view that the volatility across instruments now is becoming very correlated. So if you get volatility in JGBs, you get volatility in Nikkei, you get volatility in dollar yen all across. But having said all this, yes, the yen looks still looks to be in a corrective phase. The highs are still lower, but this bunching up, this sort of consolidation around the 150. If we start to turn back up, and we start to remount the 101.50, would suggest a near-term bottom. A break through the 150 opens up the run towards 100, and then we basically have a sort of a crash, a consolidation underneath here. But if we can hold these levels here, that's actually mildly bullish because that would suggest a double bottom here, a break up here, and then perhaps a reconsolidation back into the range. And that would make us a W bottom that would give us enough power to then try to see if we can remount the yearly highs. So we have to watch the price action carefully. I was bearish dollar yen, but as the price action develops, I may be changing my mind because the market is clearly telling us right now that this is more of a bottom than it is a breakdown. Pound just hanging. Pound is sort of actually completing this W formation, which is what I was talking about, which is what dollar yen may be in the process of doing. 5250 is resistance, but again, I think this 5250 resistance is very similar to the 3050 resistance in euro. If we get a push, anti-dollar push in Europe, it's going to take all the pairs up, and 53 could be in view, just as we have 31 in view for euro dollar. So I think both pairs are pretty much trading on the same flows. Not too much news out of UK today to really dictate any currency specific flow. So it's all going to be anti-dollar flow into the move. And then the COM dollars I think are also interesting. So I have been bottom fishing in the Aussie for the last couple of days. This is a 4-hour chart. Yesterday of course was a 95 spike bottom. We rallied back up to the 97, got a little bit rejected, came back to the 96, made a higher low. Right, higher low, which is relatively bullish, and now just sort of putzing around this 96.70. For us to get optimistic and to get convincingly bullish, you really need to see 9,700 taken out. If we start trading 97 and sort of close out above 97, that'll be a bullish development, which means that the Aussie could begin to be rebuilding towards the 9,800. That also, by the way, actually, as I said, the other way to trade the Aussie up move is perhaps through the Aussie CAD. And here, we had a few impulse moves. I liked it yesterday. We had an impulse move back up to parity. Parity got rejected. We continued to sort of consolidate, but 99 holding in Aussie CAD suggests that we're building a long-term bottom here. They could curl to the upside. One of the reasons why Aussie CAD actually did not perform as well is because dollar CAD performed relatively well. Dollar CAD, look at this. Dollar CAD closed on the lows. Testing the 103 level, and a breakdown here. This is going to correlate to 97 breakout in Aussie. A breakdown through the 103s really takes us, guns us now towards the 102.50s in dollar CAD as the Canadian dollar kind of strengthens into the move. And last, what else did I want to see? I think that's about it. I think the Kiwi. One of the interesting things that I wanted to look at is Kiwi made fresh year-to-date lows, right? But, and this was an interesting but. Let's zoom in on this just to see in more detail. You see this candle? This was a relatively bullish candle. We made the lows and then we spiked out and sort of reached out for the tops. If we can move back up above 81, similar to the 97 in Aussie, similar to the 103 in CAD, the whole COM dollar complex, if we can sort of take out the round numbers as the night progresses, would really give a lot more credence to the recovery rally in the COM dollars, and that's something that we should all be watching as the night develops. So that's pretty much it. Not too much price action today, not too much event risk. It's all really going to be driven by flows. Let's go back to the euro just to close it out. And focus on the fact that we need to clear this 30.50, 30.60 level in order for us to make a reasonable run. Let me just zoom out. Reasonable run towards the 130-100, which is the next target in view of the longs. Wishing you guys the best of luck and the best of trading. This is Boris Schlossberg for BK Forex. Over and out.